Uh, I think actually for one of the first times ever, I've properly run out of things to say because I mean I haven't really. Let's be honest. But you know what I'm saying. I'm speaking kind of figuratively. Like when people say literally, I've literally run out of things to say, but then carry on talking. That's what I'm doing here. I haven't used the old literally thing though. I don't do that. Tottenham Hotspur drawn, pegged back by Everton. Absolute thunderbolt from Michael Keane. What is there to say? Honestly, like, what more is there to say about this season, about this group of players, about this system? It's exhausted. All of it. There was 2 minutes, genuinely, and I did a tweet. There's 2 or 3 minutes at the very start of the game, the very beginning of the game, when it looked like we were playing on the front foot. We were taking the game to Everton, and I thought, this is honestly the first time I've really seen, I guess maybe the 3-0 at home to Arsenal, but this is one of the first times I've properly seen Tottenham go for it. Handbrake off. Still playing the kind of Conte formation, but definitely being much more proactive in their play. Lasted, it literally lasted what? Let's be generous, 7 minutes. And then everybody just shrunk back into place. And we were treated to that absolute clusterfuck for the rest of the game. I mean, look, there's no Everton are in a dogfight. Everton are fighting. Everton are shit. They are awful. They were terrible today. Such a lack of creativity in the side. No cutting edge. Players that look about, and this is a damning thing about Tottenham. They look similar to us in terms of their players don't seem to be able to do the fundamentals very well. They don't pass the ball about very nicely or crisply whatsoever. But we look like them. We look like them, but we have Harry Kane. And honestly, that's how I see it. And I continue to sort of make this point, but let's not welcome a world where we don't have Harry Kane in the team anymore. I know there's a lot of kind of self-preservation going on. I think it's part self-preservation and I think it's part delusion. This whole, we will actually be better without Harry Kane. We won't. I'm sorry to break it to you. We won't be. Don't be so stupid. And I will say that because it's stupid. It's a stupid thing to say. So stop saying it. That was awful. I'll be honest, I found the whole idea of us keeping Stellini on with Conte going very bizarre. I've kind of resigned myself to it. Somebody raised a very good point, maybe on the Athletic podcast, that Ryan Mason's partner is due any time in the coming weeks for their second child. So there's maybe some concern that he's going to be out missing for a large part of this closing end of the season, hence why, with the various moving pieces going on in the managerial search, that they would want to have some sense of continuity. It was clearly just so poisonous in the tail end of that Conte era. We saw it for ourselves, but also the stories coming out. Harry Kane, even, the one person that we were all worried, if Conte signs his contract, Kane will sign a new contract. When Kane was just asked about it, he seemed to not give anything of a fuck. He said, what was it? He said something like, it's football, we move on. I understand he's not going to say, I'm actually really livid with the club and I think all my teammates are cowards, like he was saying, and I want to follow Antonio to Inter Milan. But equally, it wasn't particularly warm, his sentiments about the departed Antonio Conte, and I don't think we've seen any of the team at all, other than Heung-min Son, ironically, who has been one of the worst players under Antonio Conte. Give any sort of, I don't know, heartfelt goodbye to him, or any sense of guilt or whatever. I don't know. What can we say about that game? I mean, look, it's obviously really cold light of day. I want Tottenham to be in the Champions League. I don't want Newcastle to be there yet. It's an inevitability that they're going to be there. It's an inevitability that they'll win the Premier League, maybe win the Champions League at some point. We know that's coming. That's their trajectory now. But at least it took Man City, 6, 7, 8 years or so before they even got into the Champions League. Newcastle are going to do it straight away? Do me a favour, man. Come on. But we don't seem to want it. And, I don't even have that same buzz this year about, getting into the Champions League. And I think this is indicative of the kind of cloud over the club at the moment. A lot of the stuff I was talking about with John Bass the other day, can't see the direction the club's going in. Look, I want to enjoy football. That's the kind of conclusion we reached in the pod the other day was, whatever happens, whoever's in charge of the club, whatever we win or don't win, ultimately, for the 90 minutes that you're there watching your team, you want to enjoy it. Right? You want to feel that there's somebody in charge of the club who is happy to be there, who loves the club, who feels as though it's a privilege to be working for the club, doesn't think he's above it, doesn't spend his entire time slagging off the club, the players. And I've been over this one to death, but I don't want to hear it from this kind of this self-flagellating element of our fan base. All day long, there's been this rank kind of, I called it caping for Chelsea. Why wouldn't Nagelsmann join Chelsea? Why wouldn't he? They're great. They're brilliant. Fuck off, man. I don't want to sit and listen to you wax lyrical about a despicable football club, a despicable institution like Chelsea Football Club. Get out of my face, man, with that. If that's who you want to support, if that's the sort of team you want to support, go and fucking support them, man. Just spend your whole life slagging off our football club and praising the likes of Chelsea. Do me a favour, man. Have some fucking shame. You just want to feel like we've got someone to root for. I want somebody that feels like they're our guy, Don't want Graham Potter now. I would have happily had Graham Potter before he went to Chelsea. But in that time, he's pied us off, apparently in private, saying that, he thinks he's better than us. His first press conference at Chelsea, he took an opportunity to have a cheap little dig at us, saying that, and I get it, he wants to ingratiate himself to those fucking swamp dwellers over there, but it's just boring. And now, look at it, he's not even last. He is their Nuno. He is Chelsea's Nuno. He has the stench of failure all over him now. The failure club cannot hire the failure. We talk about optics now, right? 2023, I think optics has been going since about 2021, really, hasn't it? Maybe even 2020. Let's say the post-2020 turn of phrase is optics, right? If we're talking about optics, the failure club signing the failure is poor. We cannot do that. So it isn't just some, oh, I don't want another ex-Chelsea manager. Even though I think that is a perfectly valid concern. What I also don't want is a guy that couldn't even manage a season, who is now being dragged publicly, that apparently the players are taking the piss out of his name because it sounds like Harry Potter, and it sounds, you know what it sounds? It sounds very much like when Fabio Capello was England manager, and he just had no respect whatsoever. Players like mugging him off to his face and everything, and that was disgraceful. I mean, that was just basically largely xenophobia from a pretty toxic group of England players at that time, shouting Postman Pat at him and, I don't know, doing Italian accents and all this type of shit. But Fabio Capello was he was a decorated manager. He was a legendary manager at the time. Graham Potter is not that, and he couldn't command the respect. Yeah, Graham Potter is a maths teacher. He's a secondary school maths teacher. And, not any secondary school maths teachers listening to this, I'm not digging you out. Teaching is a noble profession. But I think you all know what I mean, right? Come on, lads. Introspect. You know what I'm saying. You got pens in your top pockets? In your shirt pocket? Yeah? All right. Say no more. So no Graham Potter. Fuck no Brendan Rodgers. And what I will happily say on record, I know for a fact that if we brought Brendan Rodgers in, it would be fun for a season and a half. He would have us playing some fun football. It'd be like Redknapp Mark II. But when it really mattered, it would fall to fucking pieces, as it has done at every single club he's managed at. That hasn't been Celtic or hasn't been Swansea, where he got poached from. He got poached from when he was kind of riding the wave there, right? But it catastrophically fell to pieces at Liverpool. Catastrophically fell to pieces at Leicester. And it's funny, like two of my direct colleagues that I work with day in, day out, one's a Leicester fan and one's a Liverpool fan. And in our little like work chat today, they were having a good old laugh about the fact that Brendan Rodgers would be coming to Tottenham. And everyone agreed, a mix of supporters, but those two in particular, that would be the perfect narrative, right? The kind of the biggest banter manager to the biggest banter club. You just imagine it. Imagine it. You know where this goes. The Brent memes, all of it. I've been doing it myself for years about David Brent. About Brendan Rodgers. It's what we're supposed to do here, honestly. But that's not a great start for Stellini. His kind of tenure as Tottenham manager. Bizarre substitutions. I mean, again, Lucas Moura over Danjuma. I just don't get it. I don't get what we're doing with Danjuma. I don't understand it. Alfie Devine on the bench. Look, just fucking chuck him in. Honestly, fucking chuck him in. The kid, by all accounts, is hungry. He is desperate to play first team football. He ain't going to be a rabbit in the headlights. He scored on his debut. Yes, all right, albeit against Marine. But he was 12 years old. So, he's ballsy. You can tell he is. All the noise that comes out of the club is that he is desperate to play. And we keep holding him back. Why? He's 19 now. Just get him fucking involved. To dare is to fucking do. What is it with this fucking weak-willed shit that we see from this club all the time? To dare is to do. Like, that's one of the founding kind of principles. It's something we plaster over, all the tat that we peddle, that we all lap up. And you see nothing of that from this club. Nothing of it. Also timid, also cowardly. Even like with our managerial appointments. Conte, Mourinho, sort of fucking lily livered. That's an Americanism, isn't it? Apologise. Like, I'm a bit worried now. I've said that it's something homophobic or something. So I don't mean it that way. I just mean cowardly, basically. You should probably stay away from old expressions, shouldn't you? Because they're all rooted in some form of bigotry. So apologies, but oh dear God, just be brave, you know. Why not give? No, I was going to say why not give character. I don't want to. I don't, you know, I'll happily say, right, folks, I don't want company. I get why there's some allure there, but there was an allure for Gerrard and there's an allure for Lampard. You know, see how that turned out. Let's just let him keep doing his thing at Burnley. He's obviously doing a good job there. But as was pointed out to me by Phil, friend of the show, 7 of his starters are loaned from Premier League clubs or thereabouts, or I don't know, something like that. Just no, come on. But let's be brave. Let's bring in somebody that isn't just in the shadow of Chelsea. It's not just plays conservative. Oh, they did all right at Chelsea, or they got a tune out. Well, it is just Chelsea, isn't it? You know. Nagelsmann's going to Chelsea. We know that. Like, we don't need to lose sleep over that. We know, like, we all know that's happening, right? Anybody that doesn't think that's happening, please tweet me or something. DM me. Tell me why on earth you don't think that's going to happen. Just get fucking Pochettino back, man. Like, why are we overcomplicate? Like, at this point in time, right, if we don't feel that there's a perfect candidate, you know, if there isn't somebody that all of the board can agree on, if Nagelsmann is hesitant, if he's waiting for Chelsea, if De Zerbi is still kind of happy at Brighton, he wants to see how far he can take that one. If Brendan Rodgers is just seen to be too damaged goods or whatever, if Graham Potter, the same, wants to take some time out of the game, we don't want Enrique. Come on. We don't want another manager on their way down. We can't be doing that. Zidane, can you, like, honestly, can you see Zidane working at Tottenham? No. If we bring in Zidane or Enrique, it shows you that the people running this club have learnt nothing from the past few years. And it's just been so dull. I know we've had COVID in between, but it's just been so miserable. It's been such a... We've had some moments. We've had the Arsenal game. We've had beating Chelsea a couple of weeks ago, which was good, but I mean, come on. So, let's just get Pochettino back. Like I say, why are we overcomplicating this? He's ours. And this is now or never territory, right? His football is likely still relevant. I'm sure there are some nuance differences. But I can't see it being hugely different from what it is that Arteta's doing at the moment. That has Arsenal top of the league. There's that perfect blend of kind of vibes and just front foot football, you know? Just get him back. Just do it. It just makes sense. The away end was singing He's Magic, you know, for, 70 plus minutes of that game today? Look, the fan base has been patient with the transfer windows in the past, with building the stadium. You knocked down White Hart Lane. You built this new ground. Fine. It's taken some getting used to. But for all this shit, and what really pissed me off, right? What really annoyed me about Conte is, and I can't stand, I really cannot stand this, again, this self-flagellation from a lot of Spurs fans. What Conte said was right. Oh, he was given the home truth. No, he fucking wasn't, man. He was fucking disrespectful to the club. He was disrespectful to the fans. He was disrespectful to the hierarchy of the club. Everything. I'm losing faith in Enoch and Daniel Levy. But there's a difference between losing faith because we support this club and we love it, and you coming in with an air of entitlement and thinking that the club should completely bend to your will, and any minor kind of part where they don't entirely gives you the free rein to speak and constantly act the way he did throughout his entire tenure. And we use all this kind of low expectations bullshit to excuse it. Oh, he's Italian, it's just what they're like. Fuck off, man. Come on. Like, guy was a disgrace. I'm sorry. The guy was a total fucking disgrace. I'm so happy he's gone. I'm so glad he's gone. And I don't want anyone like that again through our door. I just don't. I don't want anyone. It's fucking miserable. I don't want to have to sit and listen to somebody tell me that our club can't achieve things, that we can't dream, that our fans are impatient. Our fans are fucking impatient, man. Fuck off. Like, actually fuck off. You were having a hissy fit after Burnley away. I know he's gone, but I'm still having a rant about him. He was having a hissy fit after Burnley away. He didn't get all the players he needed in a transfer window. Come on, man. Like, but my point is with Levy, turning your eye onto him, we have been patient. We've bought into your vision. Whether we agree or not on the stadium and whatever, a lot of us still miss the old one. A lot of people are embracing the new one, but I think really deep down everybody embraced the idea we're going to try and move the club forwards. Alright, Pochettino's gone. Let's go with Mourinho. Let's give it a go. Let's get behind Nuno Espirito Santo. Let's give it a go. Time and time again, like, always the kind of excuses that how can we be expected to keep up with the likes of Manchester City and Chelsea? It's very difficult. It's a very difficult kind of, landscape to football now. It's always that. There's always that kind of tacit acceptance throughout all of his kind of communications and everything like that. I'm just tired of it, man. Tired of it. And so just give us this one thing. Don't overcomplicate this. Give us Pochettino. Just do it for now. 2-year contract, if it's 2-year contract, 3-year contract, whatever. Just give him a contract, and let's just see this one. Let's put it to bed. It'll either end gloriously, or we can finally say, that's it. Close the chapter. Goodbye, Maurizio. It's been a lovely time. We have some very fond memories. But there's still this lingering feeling of unfinished business with him will always lead to this. But now is the time, if we're going to do it. Just come on. Right. Tottenham versus Everton. Let's do some of these players. Hugo Lloris. Probably shouldn't be a surprise inclusion back in goal, but appalling all game. Distribution awful. The kind of dilly-dallying around his box, trying to play it out short because he's too hesitant to lump it up the pitch. Not authoritative when claiming crosses. None of it. A typical of this year now, Lloris horror show. Look, I've got a lot of respect for Hugo, a club captain. He's been a loyal servant to the club for a long time. But he is done now. He's done. He's just not at the level. He is done to the degree whereby we look worse with him in the team than Fraser Forster, who is a slightly above average Premier League goalkeeper. That probably does him as a 7. I'd say he's an above average Premier League goalkeeper, to be fair, Fraser Forster. He's an international goalkeeper. But let's be honest. He ain't that good, right? Cuti Romero. Decent today, I thought. Yeah. I mean, Everton didn't create fucking anything, though. Everton have got no cutting edge. Like, they're awful. So really, Dyer and Romero, I would lump in the same, that they were all right. But, you know, no, actually, I thought Dyer was shocking today, actually. I take that back. I thought Romero was all right. Dyer's clearances constantly was shocking. Just doesn't think, just panics, gets the ball and just lumps it anywhere out of the box. Nah. Longley, terrible. I heard this week that we are going to give Barcelona 12 million for him. Just why? Pedro Porro, disappointing today. Disappointing performance from him. Few chances for him to put in a decent ball, and he didn't do it. Often hitting the first man, often playing the ball backwards. I heard he had a shocker in the international break, that he got hauled off at half-time against Scotland. Maybe that's sort of spinning his nut a bit. But I thought he was pants today. Pants. That's a good 90s term, isn't it? For any Americans listening, that's underpants. It was like a weird... Yeah, it was like a weird turn of phrase that you could kind of... Instead of saying something was shit on kids' TV or, you know, family-friendly television, people would say, that's pants. I'd say it's really... I think it came to prominence in the 90s, right? Please do correct me on the etymology of pants as a slur. Keen wordsmiths. But as far as I took it, I think it really came to sort of prominence in popular culture in the 90s. And it's a very twee, naff expression. But, you know, here I am using it. Oliver Skipp, appalling today. Soz, Skippy, love you, mate. But, nah, awful. Pierre Mahoybier, get him out of the club. Honestly, I don't think he's... I do think he's quite terrible, to be honest. But I'm fully back at this place now. But my biggest issue with him is that because he runs around a lot, he's a manager's dream in some respects. And I think there's always going to be that temptation, whoever the manager is, to play him because of Viking reasons. But he's just... Maybe if we play a 3 again in midfield. And he's not constantly swamped, we'll see better from him. But I would rather be watching Oliver Skipp and Sarr play. Skipp and Sarr. You know? I want to see the two of them play together. I like their partnership. I don't like watching Højbjerg play. I don't like watching his failure to transition the ball constantly. His passes backwards. Always. Even Perisic. Apparently he wants to go to Inter Milan if Antonio Conte goes there this summer. Can he go sooner than the summer? Hopefully. Dejan Kulusevski. Yeah, the season needs to end for him. He's not fit. He is just not quick off his mark at all. He is just hesitant. There's an air of hesitancy to all of his play, to everything that he does. It's not the sharp, dynamic, cutting edge kind of player that he was last year. And it's a real shame, because I thought he had a proper superstar. And I'm not writing him off. I'm not that fickle. We may still have a superstar on our hands, and I think we should. But he needs to get fit. He needs a break. Heung-min Son. Do players at 31 years of age have an entire season that's bad and it's not them coming to the end of the peak of their powers? That's a really unclean way of saying that. Basically, a player of his age, how much longer do we call it bad form for? And how soon is it that we can just accept the fact, as I've basically been saying since about Christmas, maybe slightly before the World Cup, that the player we have now can still be very effective, can still be very useful if we start to use him differently. His most effective performances this year have been when he's been coming off the bench. 70th minute onwards. Come on. It's painful. You know, it is painful. I get it. We've all seen what Sonny's done in the past. We know he's an incredible human being. I would have loved for him to score today as well, given the sort of abuse he was getting, the fact his grandfather has very recently passed away. I wanted that for him. But he's just not sharp like he used to be. He just isn't. He's just not sharp, you know. Harry Kane took his penalty well. I had a really horrible and strong feeling that he was going to miss that penalty. Real disgrace of him to headbutt Doucouré's hand. Really, really disgraceful from Kane. That I really agree with large swathes of the commentary on that. Embarrassing from Kane, actually. To headbutt his hand in a way that it made it look like Doucouré was also like gouging at his eyes. Really, really disgraceful from him, that. But good goal. As per usual, you know, he was dropping back. He was trying his best to make stuff happen, but you know, just wasn't happening for him or for us today. He's going to ask to leave in summer, isn't he? He's going to ask to leave. We've apparently been offered Laporte from Man City. I wonder if they're putting back on the table another offer for Kane. There's a lot of talk about Haaland going to Real Madrid. I'm just interested. I'm interested to know. I know a lot of people like to do the Uymard posturing. I don't care what happens to Kane after he leaves Tottenham, but if he's going to leave Tottenham, I'd like to see him win something, you know? As long as it's not at the expense of us, as long as we're not in a title race with City and they win it, yeah, of course, right? I always want Tottenham to do it, but if we are much the same as we are this year, next year, and Kane's at City and going to win the title, good on him. So I'd rather see him there than be a big signing for Manchester United, be held up as the man to bring the glory days back to Manchester United, which, yeah, they're showing some signs, big signs of improvement under Ten Hag. But let's be honest, no club that isn't a bit of a clown car loses 7-0 in a season, especially to the Liverpool of this year, right? Manchester United would be a misstep for Harry Kane, and I don't want to see him go there. But we don't need to talk about this. The only other real talking point is Lucas coming on, getting sent off. But what the fuck Danjuma does in training, I have no idea. But he's obviously not well liked to not get on the pitch. But that's that. A couple of things. If you weren't aware, recently launched a couple of weeks ago, a brand new podcast with me old mucker, Ben Haynes. It's called BYOB, Bring Your Own Blockbuster. It's a look down memory lane as we watch kind of films that everybody knows and loves. And we go over them with a kind of a critical 2023 eye, shall we say. But I mean, it's not. That sounds really cynical. It makes it sound like it's a really mean-spirited pod. It's a trip down memory lane. It's a bit of a nostalgia fest. We talk about all the things that we liked about the film, contextualize it with, what society was like at that point when it came out. We've done one on Mrs. Doubtfire so far, and our second episode just came out today on Whiplash. There's a YouTube element to this, so you can watch the show on YouTube, or you can listen to an extended version on all your favourite podcast platforms, where there's more chat about films on in the cinema as well at this point in time, and just general waffle between me and Ben. But please do check it out. BYOB, bring your own blockbuster. Have a listen to it. This is my podcast, so I can plug whatever I want on here. But I'm also doing it because, many of you have reached out to me before and said, I would like to listen to you talk more about films and that sort of thing. And so here we are. For anybody that was interested in that, we've gone and done it. It's a really fun project to do, though. Fucking ponce. It's a fun podcast. I enjoy talking about films. Probably more in my comfort zone talking about films than I am football. So if you like this and you like films, then why not check out BYOB? Bring your own blockbuster on YouTube and on your favourite podcast platform of choice. But yeah, thanks for listening today. Thanks for everybody that is still supporting the Buy Me a Coffee website. If you could message me, please. I will ask on here. I am going to set up a Patreon type thing next year, but as I'm not based in the US of A, I've heard that Patreon isn't the best option for creatives. So if anybody can give me any tips on stuff that's got decent functionality that everybody can use, that isn't going to basically take 20% of whatever I earn. I think the going rate is generally about 5%, which seems fair. Then please let me know, and I will get on to starting that up for, I guess, the summer and for next season. A few different ideas thrown around as to what I'll do, but this won't go behind a paywall, and the normal Rule the Roost podcast will not go behind a paywall, so don't worry about that. I'm not going to deprive you of this, but I'm going to go to bed now. Nighty night.